Yes, I'm Dan Viets, 15 North 10th Street. I want to start by saying that I respect and appreciate the work that all of you do on this council. It's hard work. You spend a lot of hours listening to people like us whine and complain, and I wouldn't want to do that job. But I say that because I am going to harshly criticize this council. I think that it surely is universally accepted that in a democracy, elections are sacred. There are not many other things that are sacred, but you know, an election by the people that elected you all is pretty close to sacred, I think, in a democracy. And so I was shocked and disappointed that this council chose, shortly after last April's election, to undo the will of the voters. The voters of this city, slightly over 6 years ago, voted to not allow roll carts to be used for the collection of residential waste. Soon as the new council got elected, without any discussion, as far as I'm aware, no discussion whatsoever during that campaign, this council chose to repeal what the voters had done just a few years earlier. That stinks. That's a betrayal of your role. That pisses me off, you know, to put it succinctly. You have no right to do that, especially when there was an effort underway by the people who favor roll carts to put the issue back on the ballot. But instead of putting it back on the ballot, you presume to defy, defeat, and disregard the will of the people you're supposed to be representing by repealing what they had passed just a few years earlier. That is impossible to defend. That is a horrible thing for elected representatives to do. There has been reports recently about a survey allegedly showing that a majority of citizens now want roll carts. That's not a survey, and I ask the people who report the news not to dignify that with the term survey. People who read that there's been a survey done reasonably can assume that there might have been a scientific sampling, that there might have been at least a random sampling of voters, but that's not what happened. That survey is meaningless. The fact is that the last time the voters voted on this, they've rejected roll carts. And here's why I think the majority of those people probably did so, because they are ugly, ugly. They are a blight on the landscape. They are going to diminish the quality of life in our city. I don't think I'm overstating this fact. They are in the most highly visible location on each piece of residential property in this city. They will sit for at least an entire day there, but more likely in many cases they will sit there 24/7. I've seen it, you've seen it too. There's not going to be enforcement. You know, passing an ordinance that says you should put these away, whatever that means, you know, after they've been used, that's not going to be self-enforcing. The police aren't going to enforce that ordinance. They have better and more important things to do. The city staff is not going to enforce that ordinance. I hope I'm wrong, but I predict nobody's going to enforce that ordinance. And we're going to see roll carts sitting right there by the edge of the street 24/7. It's going to be worst in low-income neighborhoods. Low-income people, by and large, don't have a place to put these carts. Now, the proposal is for just one cart, and you can choose your size. But the previous proposal by the city staff, and I suspect the plan ultimately still, is to require three roll carts at each residence in this city. And if I heard correctly at the recent presentation, they're not going to be the beige or the dark green. They're going to be bright, primary colors. They're going to be as ugly as they could possibly be. Now, I know that's in the eye of the beholder, as beauty is, but I've never heard anyone suggest that roll carts on the curb enhance the appearance of any property. I don't believe there's anybody that says, gosh, I wish I could see more roll carts on the streets. But that's what we're going to see. That's what we're going to have if this proposal is passed. These roll carts are going to largely sit right there on the curb. I know some people say, oh, they look better than garbage bags that have been torn up by animals. If we did not put food in those bags, the animals would not bother them. That food material should be composted. Using roll carts discourages composting. It is not going to enhance composting. People should not put food in garbage bags. Animals will, raccoons in particular, turn those roll carts over. They will open them up. They will get what they want out of them, and we'll be no better off. I thank you
Thank
for
you, Dan.
listening, but I also ask the media to realize passing this proposal will be far from the end of
Thank you,
this
Dan.
issue.
Thank you, Dan. Would anybody else from the public wish to speak?